Oh, okay.
Maybe we've started.
Oh. Well, hey, everybody. Welcome to The Dating Don't. I'm Isadora.
I'm Tristan.
And today, I guess we're going to be talking about my second date.
Hooray!
Woo!
You did it.
I did it.
You found a second person.
I know. It was surprising. No, just kidding.
Shut up. Someone who's having like no luck finding people. Shut up.
It'll happen. It'll happen.
I'll meet someone someday.
Yeah, so I met up with Manuel. No, Manuel is not his real name.
Really?
Yes, surprisingly. I mean, it could be. Like, I actually went to university with Manuel, so...
He's not... Oh, okay, damn it. You ruined my joke. If you actually know Manuel, I was going to say he's not an 18th century Spanish literary folk hero or something. But no, apparently Manuels actually exist in the 21st century, so thank you for cutting my joke off at the pass. It wasn't a very good joke anyways, but still.
I mean, it wasn't, but yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you.
I mean, he told me that I could call him Andrew because that's his middle name, but because he's like, I don't think anyone's gonna buy Manuel, and
Of
I was
course
like,
not.
like, well, that's the point. So obviously, and like, I feel like to honor how funny of a like time and a person that he is, like, I'm gonna call him Manuel because that was his. You know, I was like, hey, what do you want your nom de plume to be? And he was like, Manuel, obviously, and I was like, clearly.
Did he have a pencil mustache?
He did not. But you met him, did he?
Yeah. Well, I'm vamping. Of course I met him. He did not have a pencil mustache, but I wanted him to have a pencil mustache.
Yeah. So yes, met up with Manuel. He was actually supposed to be my first date, and you and I had to accidentally cancel on him because
Technical difficulties. These things happen.
Yeah, we were like, whoops. So he ended up being my second of these, and it was, I think it was 2 days after my first one, so it was a fairly quick turnaround.
Yeah, that's a hectic pace.
It was a hectic pace. It was a bit weird doing it straight away, but.
I guess that's maybe like a good... Oh, well, we should get to that, though. Yeah. We should get to that later.
Well, honestly, I'm not really sure whether or not it was a good thing or not. I still haven't kind of really decided whether or not it was detrimental or was just fine. But I will say, like, doing it the second time around for me it was fine. Like, it felt like doing it the first time.
Mm-hmm. It still felt relatively unique. It felt relatively fresh.
Yeah, and like, just doing it with a completely different person at that time. And, as much as I had worked through, I guess, a couple of my answers with Towns, who was my first date, it still felt like I was kind of feeling my way through the questions, I guess. So my responses, I guess, just didn't feel canned quite yet. Mm-hmm. I felt more prepared. I definitely felt like DP, more prepared heading into these questions. But you
had your trial run.
Yeah.
You'd had your dress rehearsal.
And definitely Manuel and I had like really good pre-date rapport that I just felt really at ease.
That's good.
Yeah. I kind of just knew heading into it that we were just going to have a really funny time. And we did. I will say that I did expect it to get like a little bit darker because we both have this really like good dark sense of humor. But I guess just like the questions just kind of didn't elicit, or our connection just kind of didn't elicit that. Get
to the next level of depth.
For me, it just didn't feel like it.
Okay.
So yeah, but like we had a really good time doing it. Really, really interesting person.
From your interaction with Manuel, Do you think he was holding himself back? Do you think that that's just sort of his honest answers to the questions maybe didn't have the sort of depth that actually you maybe been searching for in vain?
It's always hard to tell, right? I mean, it is a first meeting with someone, and
I mean, it is and it isn't.
Yeah.
I, having done the second date with an individual who I could definitely tell that she was inhibiting and that she was holding things back.
Right.
You can sometimes definitely know, but I think in some cases, some people are better at hiding that and putting sort of a persona forth. Yeah,
I think that he's just a really I don't feel like he was inhibiting. I think that he's just quite well adjusted, and he's gone through some things. Like there was, a few dark moments that kind of came out, but really it's just like a really positive, upbeat sort of spin on everything, which is like fantastic. And
the opposite of you and me.
Yes. And is so funny that everything just kind of ended with a joke or that kind of note, which I think laughter is so important, and I think it's a fantastic way to cope through things. But I do think that sometimes it is important for me just to not everything has to end in like a joking kind of way.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes there's got to be a bit of drama.
There has to be at some point. Like let's sort of like let's cut the shit, I guess. And so I think that that's just where we were very different in that. Not to sort of prioritize or make a hierarchy of, what's better. I just think that that's where we were very different. And I will say too, so he's sort of doing his PhD right now, and he's used to doing a lot of talks and presentations. So he's very comfortable behind microphones and public speaking. And so I will say one thing that really took me out of the experience with him a little bit was he was very aware of the microphone at all times, which I try to make sure that it's not. I forget about it at times.
I don't know. Like, I always feel like if you're forgetting the microphone's there, that's almost better. I feel like it leads to a higher level of authenticity.
Yeah. And so I noticed that there was a lot of times where he was very much speaking into the microphone while we were talking.
Which, from like the audio producer in me,
loves him.
I fucking love that.
Yeah.
I'm totally good. Like, thank God for that. But I get where you're coming from. You have times you're feeling like, if we're having a heartfelt conversation, talk to me, don't talk to the robot dick.
Yeah, that's kind of where it felt, which is weird that is sort of my, I don't, not necessarily criticism, but like assessment of the situation, because I'm the person who has set this whole thing up. I'm the one who has stuck microphones in front of us. And I'm actually, if anyone should be coming across as clinical, it should be me, because this is now my second time through. And because I don't have his side of the story, like maybe I did sound canned and clinical, but just in terms of, my experience going through this with him, it did feel a little bit more like him and I were two strangers that had sat down to just get through questions. It took 4 hours, actually, I think.
Jesus.
It did take 4 hours for us to get through.
That's a fucking marathon.
But it still felt like we were just kind of like checking off
boxes.
And he was very thorough with his answers too. So
from the sounds of it, and let me know if I'm stretching here.
Yeah.
It sounds like he was very much aware that he was, what's the word I'm looking for? Not on display. Like, he was kind of putting on an act. Like, he was like, do you think that he was putting on an act? Do you think he was kind of throwing a bit of a vaudeville spin to it?
No, I really don't. I really don't feel like there was an act. I just feel like that's just very much his personality. So he's very extroverted, likes to just perform in general, like loves
very vaudevillian in general.
Just in sort of in general, like likes being up there, likes, I think there's a question about whether you rehearse phone calls, and like he doesn't. Like, he'll just get up there. That's sort of
just shoot, and he'll always hit.
He just likes to shoot from the hip, and so I think that very much came through. And because I guess by and large, sort of what the point is, are we going to make kind of some kind of connection out of these 36 questions? And obviously, it's not the questions themselves; it's what you learn from the other person while they do it. And I'm very introverted and very cautious and hesitant, and so his ability to do that and his level of extroversion and whatever was something that I could tell was just very different from me.
Mm-hmm.
And not necessarily like the yin to my yang, but not in a complimentary sense.
I understand.
Yeah.
Did you do the 4-minute eye stare thing?
Yeah, we did, and I was like really determined to because I feel like I failed sort of my first time through, so I was like, let's do this, like, let's make it happen. We had a really hard time. Like, he really was like laughing through the whole thing. I mean, we did we made it through the 4 minutes.
You staggered through 4 full minutes.
For the sake of science, we did it, but
Science.
We did it.
And did that do anything at all?
It did not add.
Can you tell that I'm a little bit pessimistic on this entire eye stare project agenda?
The eye staring is definitely the worst part of the whole thing. Well, I don't know if it's the worst part, but I don't know. I just kind of feel like it adds nothing. It neither adds nor takes away. It's just a thing that you just sort of do, and you're like, all right, well,
this was dumb.
Yeah, we did that.
That is literally a checking of the box, I suppose.
Yeah.
I guess, yeah. So it seems like you liked this guy. It seems like you had a definite appreciation for him. That being said, it seemed like there was a definite incompatibility that came out from the questions.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I have a hard time sort of like answering this, because I really liked him and I really liked everything about him, but sometimes you just kind of, I don't know, because it makes you, I just feel like I'm gonna like flamed for it, or if anyone ever listens or reads these things, but
I feel like you're gonna give a very typical millennial answer that I've given a million times, but it's when you know, when you don't, you know.
Yeah, but and I mean, I could have easily been his. I don't know. I'm weird and whatever. And
yes.
I don't have, I mean, I have friends, sort of. Like I have friends, but I don't have.
No, go on. Keep going.
I'm trying to rein this back in. I don't know how to say this without sounding like an asshole.
Well, just say it.
I mean, I just don't, I'm not just friends with anyone. And I tend to me, conversation is very important, and how I feel about the other person is very important. And I don't, could we have gone out for drinks again and had like a really great fun time? Yeah, absolutely. But I just didn't feel like how I want to feel when I'm friends with someone, or, the need to really push it to be that way. And so while I could have just done it, I think there would have been something largely inauthentic about it on my part. And it's like, I don't want someone to feel like I'm like pity friending them. Not like, my friendship is some sort of amazing thing, but I think that, I don't want to be just doing it just because I think that's a terrible reason to just
do anything.
Just to do anything.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, like, could I have forced a friendship with this person? Probably, but it just didn't seem like it was coming from a particularly like authentic place.
I feel like you don't necessarily need to be friends with everyone you meet as well. I think that's an honest answer.
Yeah.
It's somewhat gauche, I guess, these days, this idea of you can meet someone and get on just perfectly well, but at the same time kind of think like no, I don't want to go for drinks. Like, I'm sorry, like I'm totally okay. Like, it's I don't know, it's weird because it does kind of sound like an asshole-ish thing.
Well, I think too, because we are, and I don't know if you feel this, but I always feel the pressure when you like break up with someone that for some reason there's this thing where you're supposed to be, I don't know where the supposed to be friends with your ex comes from.
No, fuck that. Cut ties. Burn bridges.
Burn
send it all straight to hell. Never talk to them again. They're dead. They're dead, Izzy. They're dead.
But I, in my advancing years, I sort of, my time is precious. I don't have a lot of hours to kind of like A, work, B, work on projects, C, maintain friendships and families, and then, D, add new people and new things to those sort of things. And like, while I had a lot of fun with him, his extroversion, I think, was like, I could be like, not like he was tiresome, but like it was tiring to me being
his energy tired me out.
Kind of, in a little bit. Like, he is someone, he's got a bit of OCD, and he is never he's never in a room that is silent. There's always music or a television show or something running in the background.
Which, knowing you a little bit, that sounds somewhat antithetical to how I think you are.
Completely. Like, that's like my version of hell, is to have no quiet ever. So, I mean, like, if anything is sort of epitomic of how a friendship would be, like,
yeah,
we're just, really great person. Like, I cannot say better things about him. Like, such a good heart. I really just enjoy this person, but I'm like, compatibility wise, and
when you're just so different from someone, you can kind of just say like, this would not be someone I wanted to date. This would not be someone I could see us having like a fruitful companionship from.
Yeah.
Okay, I get it.
Yeah. I mean, I just sort of, I don't want to sort of like, rainbow coat this whole thing and sort of lie out my ass about how.
No, that's okay.
Yeah,
like my second date, which I've also had, was not great. She was a very nice human being. I wish her all the best, but no, like, I get it. Like, I did not feel an attraction. She was very inhibited. I would not want to hang out with her again, I suppose. Like, that's kind of a dark, like, I felt like it feels bad to say, like,
and
right?
I don't know why, I don't know why, because it's not necessarily, because I guess it's not, sometimes I think it comes across as a reflection on the other person, and it's not like this, he said things that made me be like, oh my God, you're a horrific human being. It's like, it's just not compatible. Like, great person, smart,
shit
funny,
happens.
like, but just like, it's more on me and like knowing kind of what I, if anything, it's a terrible reflection on me that I just can't be friends with everyone.
Yeah, I'm so worried this is going to come out and we're just going to sound like narcissistic assholes.
But I think have we already come to terms with that?
We already established? Yeah, maybe a little bit. We probably already established that.
I mean, I think that's just something that I've had to come to terms with. Like, sometimes you just have to know yourself and accept that.
You know what you're looking for.
Yeah.
And you know what you're not looking for.
Yeah, and
Mm-hmm. So it was a fun time. It was an interesting one-off, but this is not someone you'd have any interest in running into again in any sort of companionative or romantic aspect.
No, like, I would not make a point of kind of like going out of my way to sort of to do that. I mean, if I ran into him on the street, it would be like great to be like, hey, how's it going? And
you
like,
wouldn't cross the street?
No, I wouldn't. And it would be, if it was like, hey, let's catch up, I'd be, it'd be kind of cool to just sort of be like, what are you doing? But it would definitely be one of the people that if we were friends, I'd be like, we'd see each other like once every 6 months maybe or something. So
yeah.
I don't know if I have anything more to really like. Feel like I just
really,
have like
you've got nothing left in your chamber to tear this man down from in
I know, I
absentia?
feel like I've just sort of dug myself a horrific hole that I need to get out of, but I cannot redeem myself on this one.
Ow, and it's not.
I don't know, I feel like an asshole.
I appreciate the honesty, though. Mm-hmm. We're all assholes. Everyone's kind of an asshole. Like that's like, at least, I don't know. I'm happy that we're willing to like be open enough on this stupid podcast to talk about that.
Yeah, I mean.
So let's talk more about the fact you don't have any friends.
Yeah, that is a thing. Just kidding. I have too many friends.
All right.
Okay, yeah.
Anything else you kind of want to get off your chest from this one, or can we call this an episode?
I think we can call an episode. I don't know. Is there anything that you've...
I'm trying to think of any sort of like pressing questions to this one.
Yeah.
You already kind of said that this one still felt as novel the second time as it did the first time.
Yeah.
Your answers didn't sort of feel like you were kind of getting a formula down. It didn't sound like you were reading off any kind of script.
No, and actually there were a question or two that I did learn something new from him too, just based on like his answer. I was like, oh, whoa, I didn't think I had an answer to that one. And because you said that thing, like, so there was still a learning curve.
Okay, that's good.
With this one. So that was really good. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you worry that that's going to change at all over the course of the third, fourth, fifth daterview?
Yeah. Sorry, daterview gets me every time. A little bit, yeah, because I learned less new things about myself or about my questions, I suppose. And I can't really tell if it's a reflection of having done them a bunch of times or what the person across from me sort of elicits in kind of new ways of thinking about, the questions and your answers themselves. But yeah, I kind of am a little concerned it's going to start, that the novelty will wear off.
This is just going to become a chore?
Yep.
Yeah, I could see that happening. Have you done these questions in part or in full with any friends or anyone else outside of the purview of this experiment?
No, have you?
Once or twice, yeah.
What? When?
Just like drinking with a couple of friends or drinking with a friend.
Like, before we ever did this or during?
During the process of trying to find people.
You voluntarily decided to answer these again.
I'm hanging out with a friend and we've been drinking and she's just like, you want to answer these questions? Like, this is like a really dumb, cool project. Like, I want to go through this. And part of me is just like, no, God, no.
Not again.
But at the same time, I'm like 9 beers in and I'm like, yeah, maybe this will put a neat spin on things.
And so what was that like?
It's just like answer the questions
again. Was it different doing it with someone because ostensibly someone you were friends with already?
Someone I'm friends with, that kind of makes it different. And I will say that doing it 9-10 beers deep does also kind of add a new some new flavor to the soup.
Well, I mean, I do mine with alcohol involved, which you do not. So maybe that kind of helps.
I suppose that helps a bit with you. I don't think. You're a lightweight. I don't know.
No, I mean, but like we also start the questions with the first beer, so it's not like we're 9 beer in and then starting it. It's kind of the drinking commingles with it.
Okay,
but
yeah, I think offering a stranger liquor in my apartment might come off as a little bit weird. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little different for you.
Yeah.
For me, this was like, sorry, you have to come over to my apartment, but I'll make sure there's booze there.
Come to my strange apartment and drink from this glass.
It's just actually been, it's funny because I've sort of set up a third date, but actually, I've kind of turned the alcohol thing into a thing. So it started with Towns and I was like, okay, well, like, because you're coming over, because I feel as much as this is a date that you're sort of doing me a solid by coming over to my apartment and doing this. So it's like, I'll provide the alcohol that you want.
Yeah.
And it's going to be just kind of funny for me to see like, what
are they going to say?
And so, Towns wanted White Russians. And I was like, oh,
which is a weird choice.
Yeah. Sounds
kind of
good.
Awesome. Kind of
weird, kind of awesome. It was funny. And then Manuel told me to surprise him with a variety of beer that was dark as my oh God.
Third time's a charm.
Yeah. Dark as my misanthropic soul.
There you go.
Which was funny. And so I went out and like picked out a really kind of like dark beer. And then he was like such a gentleman and he like also showed up with beer. And yeah, so I'm like kind of looking forward to see what date number 3 will propose in the form of alcohol, I guess.
I do love the fact that the subtext of this second date is this guy was wonderful. He was great. I'm just kind of too horrible a person to really like deal with that. I'm going to stand by it.
Ouch. I thought we'd come to terms with the fact that it's okay to not feel a friendship with someone.
I totally agree. No, I'm totally
Okay.
saying that. But
I already feel shitty about myself.
well, I perpetually feel shitty about myself, so
Okay.
I'm glad we can kind of bring this together. I think we're going to call that an episode.
Yep.
I think that's everything. Any final thoughts? Anything else you want to talk about?
No, I think
Here.
this horse has been beaten dead.
Yeah, we've shot the horse. It's now glue. So on that note, this is another episode of Dating Don't. I'm Tristan.
I'm Isadora.
You can find us on iTunes as well as our website, datingdon't.com. In addition, we've got a bunch of writing garbage up there you can go ahead and read. Well, my stuff's garbage. Izzy's actually a pretty good
No,
writer.
I think yours is a lot funnier than mine.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
It's a good little like sound box we've got kind of going on. It's an echo chamber that we've created for each other. Yeah. In addition, I believe we're available on iTunes and some other stuff. We got an email, thedatingdon't@gmail.com.
Send us like a email.
Yeah, send us an email.
Send us an email, guys. Like that'd be funny. You can say whatever you want in it. Like I'm not going to tell you what you need to say in that email.
Well, yeah, we'll read it out loud even. No, I don't want to do that. I'm not saying we'll read that out loud.
Well, if it's good, we'll read it out loud.
Yeah, if it's true. Don't write garbage. Write better.
Yep.
Okay, all right. This is The Dating Don't, signing off. I'm Tristan.
I'm Isadora.
Peace out.
Bye.